Hello. So we're representing Team Logos. My name is Mike Boris, and this is Anurang Kala. Is it?
Kalavakunta.
Kalavakunta. He was our chief technical expert. He would take care of all the merging of all the different aspects of the game, and he was my go-to, me being the art assets generator. So he did a really awesome job. I also like to introduce some of the other teammates who are trying to get the game running. All the way closest to me is Enrico Tanui Jaya? Yeah. And he took care of all the networking code and got it done in like 2 weeks, which is really amazing. So very impressed by his work on that. Next to him, we have Andre So, and his part of the game application was doing the physics as well as graphics work. Also, many of the traps that you're going to see us deploy during this demo are devised and created by him. He had a habit of just coming up with new ones on the fly when we didn't even ask for them. So I'd like to thank him for that. Also, right next to him, we have Mike Yao. He did the user interface as well as audio programming. And he also wanted me to tell you guys that he did a flashbang trap, which you'll probably see. And then also, can we get two? Well, I'm explaining this. Can I get two volunteers up here to play the game? Person all the way on the left side with the hand. Yeah, with the poster. There you go. Yeah, see, no, I'm pointing at you with the poster. Or, do you see? Anybody else?
So, Sam, it appears as if the live streaming is not up. Can you check on that?
I'm sorry, I can't see your hands. All right. Can you point them out? Okay, you right there, and one more. Oh, in the corner, all the way in the corner. Please come down. Okay, and so also next to Andre is Yuki in the corner right there. And he did he was a graphics programmer, did a lot of the shading for us, so a lot of the pretty little textures and things that you're going to see rendered have been done through his engine. And finally, Kevin, no, yeah. And he was our core programmer, helped out everywhere, did everything. Probably knows more about the game than anyone else because he had to work on so many parts of it. So just want to give a big shout out. So the game that we made is called Artifice, Legacy of the Polynoids. And basically, it is a first-person brawler with parkour elements as well as the ability to set traps. And it's centered around strategic points that are laid out on the map that forces players to come together and fight for total domination. The Polynoids are basically a futuristic, advanced technological alien race. And they're formed up out of microcells that are basically these like nanotechnology cells. And in order for them to basically come to any type of a conclusion, because they are a hive consciousness, they have to basically fight out in these duels. So whoever wins, that's basically the ideology that you follow. And they're colorist, because one side's blue and one side's red, and they hate each other. So. Is everything good over there yet, or still getting it all up and running? Awesome. Do you have any notes you want to talk about? Okay, well, I'm pretty much the art director, and I did all the art. So you could see the splash page. This was one of the first concept pieces I came up with. I wanted something that'd be easy to render because I'd never used Maya, 3D Max, or any of those programs before. But I also wanted something that'd be visually distinctive and easily recognizable. And so going with simple geometric shapes was a no-brainer for me. And it left enough, up to the imagination that we could always change what the game was about if they decided to do something different. You want to mention anything about the game?
You want to play gameplay stuff?
Oh yeah, I guess. So the different players of the game, you'll have access to a simple strike attack, which is a melee attack. You could also, all right, so we're actually starting the game. Can we see everybody? Awesome. So yeah, you got your basic jumps. People are just figuring out what's going on. You can actually climb walls. You could even do wall running. I hope we'll see some of that today. And I believe these audio files are all just gathered from online, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so as you can see, this is one of the resource towers. Basically, you collect resources so that way you could deploy more traps. And the concept basically was so that way you would place these traps around these strategic points and lure your enemies to come in. So you take control of it, and then you move on to the next one after a certain period of time where it runs out.
So right there you see our trampoline trap, which basically, well, first of all, we should mention all traps have friendly fire enabled, so you can step on your own traps. The trampoline trap, as you saw, rockets you up into the air like a rocket jump. And that's a normal jump that had a wall climb to it. They just climbed over a wall. And we have our beautiful blood effects there.
Apparently blue Polynoids bleed red. And that's the death trap, yeah.
That's the death lightning trap. So it explodes in a bang of flash of bang. So as you see, the center obelisk right there is a resource node, and right now it's being captured by the red team. So the blue team is slowly losing health, which gives them an incentive to capture it back. The red team is also gaining resources, and they use these resources to place traps. Each of the traps have a specific cost to them.
Yeah, so that spike trap right there is the death trap, so you definitely don't want to be anywhere near it. And that's kind of another idea that we have, is that these parkour elements that we introduced were meant to circumvent the trap, so you could jump over them or you could wall run past them. And so in order to maintain a balance, you had this maneuverability that allowed you to circumvent traps.
So there he goes flying again, and he's just chucking traps into the air. You can throw traps out in front of you, and there they are flying off and falling on whoever's head. So the resource nodes, they toggle between 3 different points on the map. Right now it's at the center point. There's one right there and one behind. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, that's probably the most skillful parkour area that you have to do. Not too many people can master it, but if you do, then you're probably going to like this game.
We also have a scroll wheel that enables a weapon selector down at the bottom there. You can scroll through all the traps. It shows you all the cost for the traps, and you can scroll through and hit T or right click, and it'll just toss the trap in front of you.
I think got some friendly fire going on there. Yeah, and obviously on the top left there's our health bar, and the top right is the score.
So players can also dash during the game, which is like a short sprint that you can do with a cooldown. If you collide with another player, you sort of push them off so you can kind of nudge them off the level or into a trap.
Yeah, so just to mention the variety of traps that we have 7 different traps. So we have a slow trap, which will obviously slow an enemy, allow you to attack them. We also have a freeze trap, which does, like its name, is freeze them. We've already seen the lightning trap and trampoline trap. And there's a portal trap that is actually meant for teammates to use together in tandem. So if you deploy a portal trap and your teammate deploys one, you or him can either go to each other's location, back each other up. There's also the flashbang, which has shown up once, but we didn't call it. Yeah, those are the different traps that we have. The idea behind the traps, to balance them out also, is that the larger the trap was, the more severe, more threatening it would be. So, even if you had like a death trap, it'd be easy for you to see if you weren't, not paying attention. But we also had this concept of, utilizing multiple traps. So you could have like a push trap that would push you into a death trap unwillingly.
So I'd like to mention that this beautiful level here is our 3rd iteration, actually. We've had 2 different levels before this, and we just weren't satisfied. So Mike here actually came up with this level basically by himself, and it looks very amazing.
Yeah, it's after working on this level for so many hours, I don't even want to touch it again. there's a lot of issues dealing with different types of file formats and loading them into the game engine and getting the textures to look good and maintain performance. So you end up designing the level like 2 or 3 times over to get it to work.
And then Andre comes along with his physics and goes, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that has to be changed. So we had to do it over again to make it play nice with all the physics and the wall climbing and the dashing and the pushing people. Ouch. Ouch. So we do have a delay on the knifing, that's why people can't just constantly knife as fast as they can click.
Does the audience have any questions for us? Any questions at all? Go ahead.
Right. So basically, Andre could explain this better. From what I understand, there's a bunch of states for what you're doing currently, like walking, running, and if you hit walls at a certain angle, then you trigger it into the next state. So say you hit wall at a slanted angle, then you'll start wall running it until you let go of the W and then you just fall off. If you hit a wall straight on and it's tall enough, you'll start wall climbing it, so then you can just kind of jump over it.
Yeah, you get into like a lot of those Super Smash Bros. Situations where you're like on the edge of a cliff and you're just like smashing on the space bar trying to get back up because like you could actually like jump from wall to wall like if you time it right. Doesn't work all the time, but it does sometimes, and you feel amazing for it. Yeah, so 2 of the metal textures are just stainless steel pictures that I actually took photos of. The other one was actually grabbed from the internet, and one was a Mudbox preloaded texture that I used. And as far as the characters, those are all completely designed by me.
Major challenges. Well, I would say just having so many elements in the game, just having physics itself presented a lot of challenges when we're designing levels, when we're doing other things like designing traps, adding all these different kinds of traps. One person would come up with an idea and then do half the trap and be like, oh, this idea is nice, I'll start on this one, you know? So, and then we have to go back and finish all the traps. Yeah, besides that, a lot of the level elements also, a lot of the particle effects we spent some time on. The resource nodes were an interesting idea that we came up with pretty late into the quarter, so that was also something that we wanted to add some competitive edge to it.
And like our professor kind of explained at the beginning, is the pipeline between making a 3D model and getting it in the game and having it look correctly is not always the easiest thing to understand or master. And so sometimes you might spend 8 hours designing a model, and then you go to import it, and you realize that you can't do it because there's non-geometric vertices or whatever that are like not correct, or you have too many vertices going to a single point, so you get warping of the textures, and so you end up you make the main concept in about 8 hours, and you spend like 20 hours trying to get it to actually work or load in the engine or things like that. I know we had a lot of difficulty trying to get animations in, which we're unfortunately unable to get working. And that's because you tried creating your own loader for it. You weren't using a library, and I think that's probably where we went wrong. Is we should have tried to find a library that would load it. I think we tried a couple different formats for it, and a lot of them were like depreciated, so they didn't really work with the new components that we were using, unfortunately. And I know another thing that probably put a lot of stress on the team is like I would go out and I'd make like a really cool model, bump map it, do specular maps and all sorts of crazy stuff to it, and I'd be like, oh yeah, so do you guys think you could put bump mapping in like in a day? And it's like, I thought you wanted like the guy's eyes to glow. I'm like, no, to get the bump mapping going. So it's always fun though. It's great working with these guys. I've had such a tremendous time and put more time probably into the single class than the last 2 quarters of classes. So, but it's a true passion, and I really appreciate all you guys coming out here because that's really what makes it all worth it. Is just being able to see the smiles on people's faces and have people actually get to enjoy and see what you do. Yeah, Enrico's going to have to start using some flashbang traps. Any other questions? Anything technical, maybe? Another question?
So you said you didn't have animations, but I thought I saw the character actually moving. See, that is our very special format. That is a one-frame animation. So yeah, essentially, you click the button, he just goes, ah, ah, ah.
Yeah, there's actually some lore behind the way it works. Is Polynoids are binary individuals, and so they actually only have 2 different states of either attack or don't attack.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah, so it was completely planned the whole time. So I think they're recompiling the whole game. I'm not sure.
There we go.
This is the version with color.
Looks like we're using an older version. You guys get to see the progress of our game in reverse. So that's the flashbang trap that Enrico just stepped on.
Oh man.
And he's blinded. So in this version,
he's still blind.
In this version, we actually had the traps change color to the ground that it landed on. So if you threw it further away, landed on a purple ground, it would turn purple, kind of camouflage in.
Yeah, this demo right here is like hot off the press. Like we compiled it like 5 minutes before the presentation. Worked through like the last 36 hours nonstop, and
so right now you can see the red particles on that
yeah.
obelisk tower indicates that it's active and the red team has it. So the blue team is slowly losing health over time. And those are all push traps that he was placing and ran into himself. And he got bumped off the field. So a really good thing that we did was add the trampoline trap really early on. So that let us play around a lot with the physics and get stuck everywhere in a level. Whenever we got stuck, we just pop trampoline trap and then unstuck ourselves.
You have a question? You mean this version and the other version? Probably like
well, first of all, do you mean
4
like
hours?
actual days of work or our days of work? Probably if we spent normal amount of time working on it every day, 3 days.
Yeah.
Basically, the only things missing in this version are the textures on the level. Most of the physics and the trap logic is already in, so it's just making things look pretty. Some of the particle effects aren't there yet.
Yeah, I think we had an issue where we compiled in 64-bit on the on the lab computers, and so we had a lot more access to memory, which allowed us to use a lot like really high-end textures. And then when we went to these computers, we actually had to go to a 32-bit version, and so we weren't able to use as much memory, which meant that we had to really quickly downscale a lot of our textures and delete some of them.
So it looks like they're fighting over the resource node there.
Last question? I think we've had 6 people at the most.
We've had our whole team play at some point, and that's what, 7 people early
Yeah.
on. So we haven't really tested the upper bounds of it. We're limited here to 4 computers, I guess. But yeah, I think around 10, and then it starts breaking for some reason.
Yeah. All right, thank you guys very much. Hope you enjoyed it.